All right, here we go. This is the third lecture for Chapter 2. Looking at this one, we're going to start with radioactivity and the energy that goes along with it, pollution. Alpha, beta, gamma. These are the three particles, I'm saying that loosely, for radiation. Alpha particles are relatively large. Think of it like a helium atom. It's got a couple of protons in there, a couple of neutrons in there, and it's positive. So that is a alpha particle. A beta particle is just like an electron, so it's much, much smaller, and it can do a lot more damage. It can go through something. It gets embedded. It doesn't necessarily go through it, but it can get embedded into your skin and do damage. Gamma rays, they do go through you. Think of like an X-ray, but much more damaging. Very high energy waves of light. These things generally, if we're talking about a particular particle, they have what's called a half-life. And if you had 100 parts at some amount of time, and it varies depending on what you're talking about, it has a half-life. So let's just say it's a half-life of 4 hours. So after 4 hours, if you had 100, now you only have 50. And it just keeps going on and on. Generally speaking, after 10 half-lives, whatever originally you had is considered no longer there. It's degraded enough where it has disappeared. Okay, electromagnetic spectrum is all energy, all light. And you have things which have very long waves, and their frequency is low. It means it takes a long time for waves to get from one point to the other. They're all traveling at the speed of light, though. So that's always a misunderstanding. They say radio waves are slower than, for example, gamma rays. No, they're all moving at the speed of light. It's just because the wavelengths are so much longer for radio that they have a lower frequency. They don't pass a point as often. But as far as energy, you can see how they're categorized here. You have non-ionizing radiation on the right-hand side, which means they don't do damage. You can get hit with these things all day long. So radio waves, TV waves, as you're sitting wherever you are right now, you are getting hit by these things. Your cell phone. That's how it works. The things on the left-hand side, ionizing, for example, starting off with ultraviolet, you go outside on a nice sunny day, and you can only be out in direct sunlight for so long before you start having the effects of that high-energy light. X-rays, these are usually just like little blips, but you would not want to sit under an X-ray machine for long periods at any. You don't want to do it at all, so don't do that. Because they are very high energy and they will do high amounts of damage to your cell structure. And of course, gamma and cosmic, even worse. Alright, so energy and matter, they both have this idea of a first law, but we're specifically talking about energy here. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It's pretty cool. You have to account for it all. So we can look at the efficiency of various things based upon how much energy is useful. And so if you put 100 units of energy into something, how much is actually doing what it is you want it to do? Take light, push a car, whatever that happens to be. And there's always going to be some waste whenever you're transferring one type of energy to something else. For example, chemical energy into kinetic energy, or heat. The second law of thermodynamics is the idea that every time you do make those changes, you lose some of the quality. This goes for matter as well, again, but the second law of thermodynamics says that whenever you're changing from one form to another, chemical to kinetic, you're going to have the degrading, and you're going to lose some of the energy. So you never get 100% transfer of energy. There's always going to be some loss as far as heat every time you make a change. Alright, so this is a little example of that. So all the energy is accounted for, even though it's waste heat. It's all there. So we didn't lose any total, but as far as usefulness of that energy, you lost some every step of the way. That is the second law. That is entropy. So you got all the energy in the sun, and then getting into the photosynthesis, it's actually a quite small, it's a pretty small amount that actually gets transferred over. The rest of it is lost as heat. It's not efficient. And then the tree, in this case, creates food. apples. And so it's stored in there. But again, it's not that efficient. It uses a lot of heat. And then the farmer here is eating an incredible amount of apples, 2, 4, 6, 7 apples. That might be an exaggeration. But he's using that for food to dig this hole. So this is, again, looking at a transfer of energy, losing quality all along the way. And this, again, is just pushing that point further through, looking at a system. So our perspective here is a little bit different. We're looking at the system. We have inputs, you have the system, and you have outputs. And how well the system uses both matter and energy helps determine how sustainable it is. And here you have just a little example. The lake here, Mono Lake, is the system. You have inputs, water going in, and then you have outputs is in regards to evaporation. The salts are left behind. So the system has whatever conditions, it becomes more salty over time, whatever that happens to be you're looking at, based upon these inputs and outputs. And this is another way of looking at a whole system again. Think of like 2 different types of cars, a gas-powered car and an electric car. You have various inputs on the left-hand side top going in. How the system, the car, operates with both the engine or the battery and the fuel that goes into it, how well it does whatever it is it's doing, driving. And then the outputs, what kind of things are leaving, how efficiently is it using the energy that goes into it, and when this car eventually has to be decommissioned, what are you doing with all this stuff that comes out of it? So it's something called life cycle assessment, and we'll talk about this later in the year, but it's an interesting side branch of engineering. And we'll do this again, a little activity in class, and we'll talk about it more when the time comes. There you go. That is the end of the 3rd lecture for Chapter 2.